It's such a beautiful day, I thought I would check out other aspects of my RV, and here is a patch job that I did on my exhaust system. I used some of that wraparound bandaging, and then, I don't know if you can tell, but that's a tin can, a soup can that's over there. There was a piece of metal that was suspended down from here, and it looks like this. It was clipped up there, you know, through, it was threaded through here, and then kind of created a loop that kind of held this in place. And unfortunately, it has obviously there's a fair amount of rust to it, so we're gonna rebuild something like this. So I purchased a piece of metal, and this is the label of it. It's just a regular piece of metal, and I cut it in half. I tested it with this piece, and it sure enough will bend into a nice circle quite easily. But the first thing I'm going to do is I've got this piece laid out here and clamped down on the table, and all I'm doing is I'm taking this nail, this tack, and I'm just putting in these little marks. So I'm going to put in those marks first. Okay, so I've got a bunch of those little, I don't know if you can see them, but just these little tiny holes. Not really holes, just divots, and I put them on both sides, and now I'm going to use those to guide my drill bit to drill holes. Okay, the first holes didn't work, they were just too small, and what would happen is I would put the drill bit on there and it would just still kind of dance around all over the place. So it wasn't catching the hole, so what I ended up doing was just taking this screw, putting it in there, and then, you know, whacking it with a hammer a number of times to get a slightly larger indentation. Alright, so now I've got the holes started, they're really grooved out, so now what I'll do is I'm just going to slide it down off of the table like an assembly line and then just drill the holes. Alright, first set of holes are drilled, now it's time to file them down a little bit. Okay, holes are drilled a little bit on both sides, and there are the shavings, so now I will clean up. Okay, so now I've created kind of a wedge system. So this piece of wood right here is actually, it was a piece of trim on the vehicle before I redid the bathroom. And then I've got a couple little shims in here. Those are actually just scrap pieces from some paneling, some Luan I used, and then I've got a file. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in here like so, and just bend it up, move it down, bend it up, move it down, bend it up, move it down, bend it up. And I'm just going to keep doing this. Just little tiny bends. And what happens is, over time, it's just gonna create a nice bend to it. So, see if I can get it in the shape I want. Well, there's one side that was actually pretty easy to do. So now I'm gonna bend this side. Same process. Put it in the little spot here. And I don't want to bend too much from the beginning because I want that part to be straight. So then I'll just move it in, bend it up. Gonna keep working my way around here, and I'll pull it out, and then at this point I'll take a look at it and I'll examine and just kind of see where I want the slope to be a little more pronounced. So I'll keep working. Okay, so now I've got an oval shaped item, and the next thing I gotta do is I gotta kind of precision measure it, so I'll probably have to come and do some more bending. But I should be able to put in a couple of a bolt or two and, you know, Loctite them up, and it should hold pretty well. Okay, here's the spot we're working from. So I've got my two pieces of metal. They're essentially going to hang like this. And then I've got the holes that are, you know, pretty much going to work like a belt loop, so to speak. And I've got a couple of bolts here. So unfortunately, I've only got two hands, so I'll have to do the work and then kind of show you what I did. But if this works, it means I'll have a $5 fix here, so that's a good thing. Okay, piece number one is in place, and what I did was I used the existing holder, and you see it kind of goes underneath the cross member here. So that means that when it comes down, it's going to keep it in place, and it's going to be able to handle, you know, a reasonable amount of torque on it. I don't know. Yeah, that should work. Well, we'll see. Okay, so now I've got my two pieces of metal. It looks a little janky, but it's bolted in there, and I ended up stripping one. I don't know if you can see it here. Let's see if I can get nice and close. See, it ended up just falling right apart. Yep, there it is, the one down. Yep, but I got that bolt in there, and it seems to be holding it up nicely. So I think I got a $5 fix here. You know, this has got a little bit of give and spring, which is good, but not too much. It'll hold it relatively in place, and you know, I can wait to replace my entire exhaust system for another day or two. So thanks for watching. And here's an update. Weeks later, it's been about 3 weeks, and still holding strong here. So it's nice to know that my exhaust system's not going to fall off from underneath the vehicle today. So that's good.